Hi, Charles. Happy Tuesday. Hey, you got to say something so I can make sure it's working.
Working on my end. Is it
Yeah,
working on
it
your
is now.
end?
There's always like this couple second delay.
Yay!
Hi, Becky.
Same. When you invite me, it says it's connecting for a little while and then it connects. I don't know.
Hey, I'm pretty impressed that we did
I
pretty good
don't
this
know.
time. So hopefully y'all who are watching are impressed. First
I agree.
time. So today we are talking about goals and value-based scheduling. And so it's kind of been the repeated theme that we've been talking about a lot
hmm
lately is on time management, scheduling, calendars, all the good stuff. And so I think we wanted to talk a little bit more about like the heart behind our scheduling because um,
hmm
I think that it's difficult sometimes for people to transition into a business where they have a lot of passions, a lot of desires, there's just all the things they want to do. And then they come to
Yeah.
that fork in the road where they realize they don't have as much time as they really thought they did. And they have to get really realistic and they have to start weighing things up against each other of what matters more, this thing or this thing. And it's not easy. I still have a hard time with that, even after 12 years of being self-employed. But today I think it would be good to kind of like share a little bit about how we make those decisions based on goals and values, and how once you have clear vision of what you want to accomplish,
hmm
how those really do shape, what is a goal, what is a value, and how do those fit into that big picture thing.
hmm
So, um, what would be like the first thing that we want to talk about?
You know what? I think that like when we've been talking about calendars, we're talking about, having a to-do list, putting it into project management, breaking it into 15-minute chunks. And I think that even by doing this, I think that some people are still going to feel so
Yeah.
overwhelmed by all the things
Mm-hmm.
that they have to do. And I think that this is a really important time to remind you that you are in
Mm-hmm.
charge of your schedule. You are in charge of your schedule. Like this is your life, your business, your family. Like you are in charge of your schedule. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, well, I mean, then you have the power to change that. Like I have, because I'm really interested in a lot of things,
Yeah. Yeah.
like you are too, right? I think that like that's kind of something, and I sent out an email about this like a while ago about entrepreneur
Mm-hmm.
overwhelm, like entrepreneurial ADD, right? Like we see all these things, we see
Mm-hmm.
potential in a lot of things, right? So it's so easy to like say yes to all these opportunities, or to be like, oh, I want to do all of these things, I have all these ideas that I want to do, and then you go to try and figure out where they're going to fit into your schedule, and man, it gets blocked
Yeah.
up quickly, right? I mean, like your life gets scheduled out pretty darn fast when you want to do all
Mm-hmm.
of the things. And I think that like when you get to that point where you're like, oh my gosh, like this, I feel so overwhelmed, like I don't know how I'm going to get all this done. This is when you need to stop and you need to have a very real conversation
Mm-hmm.
with yourself. It's okay to talk to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have a very real, honest conversation with yourself. Like, what do I really
Mm-hmm.
want to do? Like, what's really important to me? Do I really like, is it really important to me to go to my kid's soccer game? Is it really important for me to develop this new product right now? Like, do I really need to
Mm-hmm.
do whatever it is? Like if you're feeling overwhelmed, check in with yourself and ask, is this something that I really need to do, want to do? Is it going to help me in my life? Does it
Mm-hmm.
fit my goals? Does it fit my values? I think that that's a
Yeah,
good
and
place to
so
start.
like for me, it's like when I look at my own life, And it's like everything that you have on your plate is there because you put it there. Nobody piles anything
Yeah.
onto your plate of responsibilities. No one does. I mean, I even have, being a mom of 7 kids, I can't even say my kids pile things onto my plates. Like if I get them involved in activities, if I put them, whatever it may be, that's me that does that. That's nobody else does that. So I have the power to pick and choose what I'm willing to be overwhelmed with and what I'm willing to like squeeze onto my plate. And so, so some of those things like with my kids is I've had to look at being a solo parent, not having a support system that, we can share the load where I'm fully responsible. I've had to go, okay,
Yeah.
I need to be realistic of what, as much as I want my kids to be involved in so many things and have so many experiences, I also have to be realistic about this is just me doing this. And so I have to go, okay, what's more valuable? Is it more valuable for me to be at every school function? Or is it more valuable for me to have that time where I'm working to earn the money to provide them with experiences that don't require me to be there? For example, like they're in ice skating lessons right now. And that I had to work harder to earn that money to pay for that, but I'm not there at every school function. I'm not there for that, but
Yeah.
I wanted them to have this other experience. So I chose one thing over the other. So I usually, every time they have a school function, I'm not there for that. I'm not at all the parent teacher conferences. Like I choose not to be at those things because I want to use that time instead to give my children opportunities that I think matter more. Because my kids don't care if I'm at those school meetings as much, they just don't care. But do they care about that thing about like the ice skating or having those kind of things? So I choose those different things of being like, what matters more? And I don't let that mom guilt, like what Becky says, that takes care of mom guilt. I don't have mom guilt about choosing one thing over the other when it comes to those things with my kids, because that fits my values. I don't know what I'm going to get out of like, yeah, I could give them a better education, but whether I go there or not, that's reliant on the teachers. That's reliant on the school system. That's not so much about me showing up and being there. It's nice to know those kind of things, but my time of taking an hour, 2 hours, whatever per week to do a lot of those kind of things, it doesn't improve their future. And so that's what I look at is my big picture when I'm creating my schedule, and I'm looking at this as like, yeah, this is nice now, but does this fit my big picture of where I want my family to go, where I want my career to go? And then having to make those choices, because we were talking about, I even said this to you earlier, it's like when you spend $9 on a Netflix account, it doesn't feel that painful. But when you have 20 different memberships that are all under $10, you now have like $200 that are going out of your bank account every month. And those little chunks add up to something big. And that, like $200 a month, then that becomes a year, like you add all that kind of stuff up, and that shows your value system. And you go, well, is it really that valuable? Is that really that important for me to have here? Like, well, when it comes down to it, does that alter my life whether I have that or not? It doesn't really, and so but they add up. And so those are the things when you're looking at scheduling, like what are those little things that add up that take away from the things that really truly do matter?
Yeah, I think that that's such a great point. And, I'm so happy that we have this platform to kind of like be very open and honest about our experiences and share what we've gone through. Like I have said to you guys, like, I have trouble, like, when I have open time in my schedule to not immediately fill it. It's something that like I've had to work through because I've always done that. Like I've always just put so much in my schedule, and it has left me feeling overwhelmed, and I did the same things with my kids. Like I was assuming too, like with me being like always like crazy and on the go and wanting to have like a full schedule, that like they should have the same. And man, like so I expose like Presley, I feel like your first is always like a practice child.
Yeah, poor little guinea pigs.
Oh my God. Like, but I always made sure that I was like exposing her to all these things, and we were so programmed. And like, I remember, pulling up to things like a music class or karate lessons or something like that. And she'd fallen asleep in the car. She'd fallen asleep in the car, and I'm like waking her up to go inside, and she's like miserable, crying because she doesn't want to go in. She'd rather just like sleep or something, like I was over programming her because I was so over programmed too. It's just been amazing because now, they're still involved in a lot of things at school, but it's not like we're
Yeah.
stopping and starting. Like a lot of the things that they do are continuations of activities from school, and it
Mhm.
works out well for them. But they have also been honest with me over the past, like, couple of months. They've been like, okay, like, I don't want to do
Mhm.
this anymore. Like, I don't want to do soccer anymore. Or after this ballet recital, I don't want to continue on with dance classes and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, like, thanks for letting me know. And we have that open communication. So, like, with you, Alicia, like, I, we've talked about this too, getting everybody like on the
Mhm.
same page with like what your goals, what your values are,
Mhm.
scheduling accordingly. Like you're getting on the same page
Yep.
as your
It
kids.
is a
Like,
it's a
you're
family
really open
conversation.
with
Yep,
your
this is a
olders.
family
Yeah.
conversation so
Yeah.
that they can understand why I'm making the decisions that I am, so that they aren't
Mm-hmm.
resentful because they see other kids doing things, or it's just, or having that conversation where like, what really matters to you guys? What do you value,
Mm-hmm.
and being
Mm-hmm.
able to decide what is wants versus needs, because I think that's a really important conversation to have
Yeah.
even at really young,
Yeah.
because if you can't have that conversation with your kids, you're not going to be able to have that conversation with yourself, because you're going to constantly be looking at everything as
Mm-hmm.
like, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. And it's not true. More often than not, they're very little that we truly do need. Most of the time we cram in are just wants. And so I do that. Like my scheduling
Yeah.
and my goals and my values are very communicated with my kids. And because I'm working a lot, life looks very different to a lot of their friends. They see their parents taking them out doing more things, and I've had to explain to them, I'm like, this is the season of life we're in right now, and until I can get into a place where
Mm-hmm.
it's like,
Mm-hmm.
where I don't have to work as many hours, or it's like, hey, we'll be able to do it this way, or we're going to do vacations this way, or we're going to do summer this way. And I've just been able
Yeah.
to future pace them instead of just always being, we can't, because I think that's sometimes, you do that with finances, where you go, we can't afford this, we can't afford
Yeah.
this, we can't afford this, instead of saying that doesn't fit our budget right now for where we put our values. And I've had to
Mm-hmm.
state those kind of things with my kids, instead of constantly saying, we can't afford that, we can't afford that. It's just being, hey guys, right now that doesn't fit our value system of where we should be putting our money. Like right now, this is where we want to be putting our money, because this is what we value.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with our time. Instead of saying we don't have time for that, you say, you know what, I don't
Mm-hmm.
have the allocated budget of time to devote to something that's not a high priority in my values. Like I really want to do that, but right now I'm budgeting my time to go this direction because this matters more. So having those conversations with yourself, I think, is
Absolutely.
really important in family members. Like that's really important, so that everybody understands, and you don't have that guilting or the questioning or the doubting and the frustrations. Like get everybody on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. And it's so beautiful when you can build your schedule accordingly. It even like from obviously it takes
Yeah.
away from the
Mm-hmm.
overwhelm, which is so huge, right? I mean, we're reducing our anxiety and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. So important, right, across the board
Right.
for our health overall. But I think like having a goal-based schedule, a values-based schedule, a schedule that reflects your
Mm-hmm.
unique priorities, this leads to a more fulfilling
Absolutely.
life, right? I mean, if we only get to do this once, then like why not do it the best? So like when you're thinking of your life and your schedule that way, I want you to all like take a really good hard look at your schedule
Mm-hmm.
now and ask yourself like, does this reflect my priorities as a human? Is this reflective of our values, myself, our family's values? Is my schedule reflecting the goals that I have for myself now, in a month from now, in a year from now, in 10 years from now, whatever, and the goals, for our family? And if it doesn't, awesome. Because you know what? You are
Mm-hmm.
in the driver's seat. You can
Mm-hmm.
make those changes. And we'd love to hear from you. Like, what does your schedule look like now and how does it feel for you? Does it
Mm-hmm.
feel overwhelming or does it make you feel excited and fulfilled? I think that like that's a very easy question to ask yourself. If you have any doubt in your mind whatsoever, if your schedule is like a good schedule or if it's like one that is just like,
Mm-hmm.
ew, you probably need to take a deeper look at it. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. So this is actually something when we're talking about building our schedule and allocating your time and where time should be spent. this is all going into things that we are incorporating and we are
Mhm.
teaching the members of our Get Your Shit Together challenge, which kicks off on Monday, June 3rd. And oh my gosh, like Alicia and I have been, talking about how do we continue to add
Mhm.
more value, right? How do we continue to add more value to this challenge? And it's exciting for us because we're like 3 weeks away from it. Registration's open now, and we'll drop that link below. But we're a few weeks away, and it's great because we have budgeted our time and planned this in advance. We planned it out really, really well. And now we're able to sit and go, how can we add more on? How can we add more on? And we just added on like a really, really awesome bundle piece today that's valued at like well over $125. And the challenge itself is only
Mhm.
$49. So just that piece alone is super duper valuable. But we're adding more stuff on there. I love this. I really, if you are in that position now as an overwhelmed entrepreneur, I would love for you to take this opportunity to invest in yourself, your
Mhm.
time and your finances, and jump into this Get Your Shit Together challenge with us. Again, we'll drop the registration link below. We kick off on June 3rd. And I am just so excited for Alicia and I to be able to like hold your hand a little bit and just be like, yo, it's okay. Like, you don't have to stay in this space,
Yeah.
and you won't stay in this space of just constantly chasing your tail. Like, let's get your life together. Let's get your business together. Let's just get your shit together and help you feel
Yeah.
fulfilled, right, in your life and in your
Yeah.
business. Yeah. So yay, we're super excited. And yeah, so we'll be back in here with you tomorrow. And as always, if you find value, we love that you're joining us. We so appreciate your time. And if you feel like this is valuable to other people in your life, share it. Tell them to like our page and be like, yo, you should watch these two girls because they're awesome. All right.
Thanks,
Enjoy your day, you
guys.
guys.
Bye.